Well, I thought after covering the Robot Fighting League last week, I might be done with robots for a minute here, but nope, the AS2-W just came out. Oh, you haven't heard? Remember Unitree? Check this out. What the heck is this? I legit checked to see if this was just AI generated. I got in on the joints, I did frame by frame, and it's just not. You know, one of my favorite gaffes ever is when people read something that was generated by ChatGPT and forget the part before and after the request.
Here's a more natural flowing version of that section that reads like a legislative speech rather than a series of short points. Madam Speaker, one of my concerns with this legislation is the potential gap between what...
It's just so funny. Okay, so I guess this is how semi-trucks look now. And as long as we're talking about AI trucks, I'm going to show you what happens when 2 autonomous trucks are used in a stunt. Because the timing has to be so perfect that he doesn't trust a human to drive the trucks. Well, look at a really interesting question. If everybody got access to the same AI, what would actually give somebody an advantage over somebody else? There's actually dozens of ways to kind of tackle this question, and every single one of them has like a fascinating insight that makes me think I should be taking different actions with my life. I want to dive into Raf Brenna's article called From Chatbots to Sixth Sense. And we'll also look at Molly Cantillion's view, which is essentially kind of a similar topic, except from the standpoint that what does it mean when you're really not able to see your own future, but you're following this other type of intelligence that's choosing for you? Nothing like that in the history of humanity has ever been taken by individuals, by societies, and that alone leads you to some really interesting conclusions about what the future is going to be like. All right, so what is going on here? Chinese company Unitree, the AS2-W, maybe a little bit hard to say, not as catchy of a name, but holy cow, is this thing making waves. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, so they say it's designed on this simple observation that like industrial robots actually need to zip around floors. So I guess the idea is that you're in these like Costco-sized warehouses, and in real-world deployment, robots often travel for long stretches across roads and factory floors or sidewalks, or, you know, this thing's making a delivery, going down subway steps, it's maybe getting on the subway, I don't even know. And in most cases, it's a smooth enough environment that you just can definitely use wheels and zip across with not that much energy needed. But then you don't want to walk everywhere either. You don't want just that bipedal, walking mechanism. It's not super efficient for these long deliveries. So this is the two combined, and we have seen that before, but we've never really seen it just taken through simulation to the absolute limits of all the different types of terrain. And it feels like, wow, AI simulations are just insane now. They did publish some of the technical details. We're talking about a top speed of 13 miles per hour, 19 miles of range on a single charge without a payload, assuming most of that is rolling. It's got a static payload of up to 330 pounds. So if you're wondering if you can ride it, the answer is yes, they're rideable by humans. Oh my god, I didn't think about that. Is that going to be a new thing? Like, there's all sorts of races around motorcycles and jet skis. Like, why? Yeah, oh my gosh, that's crazy to think about. But if we just saw the Robot Fighting League, why don't, maybe that's how Dylan Curious makes money. Finally, I knew the solution would happen eventually. I just thought Claude would code it, but now I know. So security patrols, definitely that one makes sense. Or some of the use cases: research in autonomous robotics, construction and mining sites, campus and warehouse logistics, utility and infrastructure monitoring, and industrial facility inspection. So I guess that's what the AS2-W is aimed at right now. By the way, the W just means they add a wheel. You can also buy an AS2, which is just like the standard, pegged locomotion, meaning it just walks like a dog. So yeah, start finding some use cases for this bad boy now, and maybe you can purchase one, instead of a car next time, you just like skateboard on this thing, or maybe you can put maybe get a little harness so you can ride it like a horse. I don't know. I don't have much to say about this except it's hilarious, so let's just watch it together.
Brunswickers may reasonably expect this office to accomplish and what the office will actually have the authority to do. One of the dangers associated with creating advocacy offices
what are the
citizens
dangers?
often develop expectations that exceed the powers actually granted to those offices.
Yeah, good point. Interesting. Very thoughtful,
Here's a
sir.
more natural flowing version of that section that reads like a legislative speech rather than a series of short points. Madam Speaker, one of my
And, oh, what
always
was...
say, like, that's not realistic. Not for you, you unwhimsical bitch.
What? Where's that part go? Definitely got off track there.
concerns with this legislation is the potential gap between what
Oh, your concerns are just ChatGPT's concerned, aren't they? Let's see what the commenters say. So when does AI run the country and these things serve as mouthpiece puppets? Yeah. Oh, it's already happened, huh? Yes. So, like, what justifies the salary? But it's stuff like this that will allow me to never have imposter syndrome ever again for as long as I live. There you go. So there, you know, Mishta Lunchbox.p has it all figured out here. I'm glad it inspired you. This is just the form factor that'll blow your mind. Like, you're right. Why do we need a cab that holds a human? Every time I think about self-driving trucks, I've always thought of the Tesla truck, the semi-truck cab. But look at this thing. That is the battery, right? Like, I mean, it's not gas powered. So there's the battery just floating upright in front of it, like one of the Tesla walls. There's the sensors that you need to actually drive with. Probably some LiDAR down there. I mean, it's so compact, so efficient. And I know it sounds a little weird, but I imagine, why not just put the exact thing like this on the back? And you would have all the sensors and the optics that you would need. So these things could be dumb, right? Like the actual part. Does my mouse show up on that recording? Yeah. So there's the part that actually holds the cargo. What do you call it? The container, right? Like that can be dumb. But one of these on the back and the front, or at least like light it up in the back with some like radar and some cameras. Now we're talking. Heck, maybe even put a third one on it, make it a chain, like a train. These things could all pivot to the side and it could just vertically go in and out of spaces. It could navigate big cities better. It's just like, think of how much space here now. It can make these turns. It's literally genius. Let's go see who makes this. Oh, well, here's one reason why you shouldn't trust social media. Said China is already replacing trucks, but this is actually the Humble Hauler, an autonomous semi-truck built by San Francisco-based startup Humble Robotics. Class 8 fully electric tractor, level 4 autonomous driving, cameras, LiDAR, and radar. 20% lighter than traditional tractor-trailer setups, designed specifically for dock-to-dock transport. Very cool. I also wanted to point out that this bike jump between two trucks that have been hollowed out, those are both powered by autonomous driving systems so that it could be perfectly trustworthy. So this guy could, risk his life making that jump in that small little window. Isn't that crazy? But that's the kind of precision that you need. You can't have humans doing it. Like, they're just not going to get the timing as perfect. So he used autonomous trucks. There's no drivers in those. And then boom, look at that. He set whatever record that's called, jumping through two trucks moving at different speeds. All right, enough gawking at the robots. Let's get a little philosophical here. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the world. AI in the sociological perspective, 2026. Mackie Panak has written and created this visual for us. So what's going on here? So for this, you should ask yourself the question, if AI remembers everything, what is it that a human should actually be learning? Like, what is the skill if AI does everything for us that matters? I mean, if it can write blogs, what matters? Like Wes Roth would probably talk about taste. Like, you just have to have the taste for what a good piece of writing is, or like a sense for how to prompt it. And do you think that lasts for years? I mean, like, what if you go to one AI and you're just like, find a prompt that makes me money, and then it makes that prompt, and then you give that prompt to another AI and it goes and makes money? Is there anything in there? Like, are you supposed to observe one prompt going into another one? Are you supposed to spin up loops of agents and monitor them? Are you supposed to have some sort of managing skill? Are you supposed to remember something that it wouldn't because you're human and you sense the world different and that's what's special? And then questions are like, who's going to thrive in AI? Like, people who are not technical, people that are more empathetic, that are more human, the people that reject technology sort of completely because in the technological realm, AI does everything, but there's still the human realm. So for the past year, we've mostly been talking about AI as a technology, like bigger models, better chatbots, more impressive demos. But he's talking about us entering this completely different phase. And honestly, I think he's right. And I don't think I've thought that much about it until now. Like, the technology itself is no longer the story. Like, I assume that Dylan Curious is going to be a YouTube channel that will start, maybe not like this week or maybe even not in the next few months, but start pulling back from, oh, we're an AI channel. Like, what's the new model? Like, society is changing. And I want to capture that change, or at least I'm curious about that change. I mean, 2025 was the year AI stopped being a fun chatbot and started becoming like digital infrastructure. I mean, not for everybody at all times, but we started to stop opening up a chat window and then see AI woven into like Google Docs or in our email searches, scheduling, search. I mean, this is all stuff that at least maybe not that long ago, but like at least 2 months ago or 3 months ago, I really started like having AI kind of involved with all of those things, every part of my workflow. And doing it with something that had memory, that had personality, that sort of was more personal in the way I interacted with it. Instead of relying on carefully written prompts, like I used to have just a lot of prompts like on a document, like in Google Keep, where I could be like, cut and paste it. But now the conversations are starting to kind of adapt to my habits. And as he argues, the era of move fast and ask permission later is gradually giving way to some level of accountability. We saw, a couple models now being sort of certified by the government, being pulled off the market at some time with the case of Fable, with, national security being a big talking point and like where we can use these things, especially around training data. Some of the people that had a lot of their data just stolen and used to make these systems are getting their actual paydays, or at least bringing more attention and getting some sort of, well, I hate to say justice, because I don't feel like they did get justice, but there's some sort of resolution at least. And then on top of it, he points out this remarkably fast adaptation. Like, we are adopting it so quickly. Cities, people I know, they're talking about this. I've been in coffee shops, and it is not rare at all for me to look over and see somebody with ChatGPT open, or have two people overhear them talking about Claude and how they're using it. And it's fascinating. I kind of expect it in my little world and like with all of you guys, because like we're just those people, but we're this little corner of the internet that watches these kind of videos and talks about this kind of stuff. But I'm seeing it in places that I didn't expect. And there are unverified estimates, but still, they suggest that AI is spreading faster than electricity or the internet from many different metrics. And in some lower income countries, adoption may be even outpacing the wealthier nations, which I think is probably a good thing. At least at this, who knows where AI is going in the long run. I'm kind of a doomer. But at this point, I think that's fantastic. Like, there is so much benefit that just a really cheap smartphone that could have even fairly bad internet, but connect to Gemini and Claude for people who are really poor, like talk about like at least a little bit of medical help, a little bit of understanding of how to get something done, like some guidance to do paperwork, to get whatever citizenship or papers done so that they can get jobs, like, or even to learn something useful, code something, to build something. Like, it's all so, I could imagine that being so useful. And for him, what a lot of it starts to come down to is education. And that sort of seems like the big point here. So the author suggests that schools still reward memorization in a world where information is everywhere. And if AI can retrieve facts in seconds, right? Like we've said this before, like with Google, what's the point? But not only that, if it can put it in context to a lot of things, if it can explain a lot of things, then the valuable skill isn't remembering every formula. It's maybe not even knowing when to use it or how to execute on it, but it might be knowing which questions to ask. So that, I think, is the crux of this whole paper. Like, what you need to know in the future is what questions to ask, when and where, in what context. That might be something that the AI just, you don't spin it up and it starts asking the right questions for you, or for the people you care about, the things that matter. It might not ever really kind of know that. It might guide you and suggest and brainstorm, but you might want to think about, how do I test an idea? How do I connect concepts across different fields? How do I meet with somebody and recognize that neither of us know the answer, and AI might. Like, that's the time to call on it, and then other times is not. And the author argues that we should become more comfortable saying things like, I don't know, we don't know. Sounds obvious, but it's surprisingly rare, and with AI around, it helps. Treat we don't know as a legitimate starting point so that it can lead to better thinking, to fewer confident mistakes. And realize that the one thing that might stay scarce in the future is human judgment, creativity, communication, and just simply questioning. What is the right question to ask? I try to go to bed and wake up at the same time every night so there's a nice rhythm. I have blackout curtains, I put sleep masks on, and I had a little fan, but that was still not enough. These things are ultra low profile, just 9.9 millimeters thin. It is 3.3 grams. It's like a feather. It features a dual microphone hybrid active noise canceling system designed to block out low frequency environmental disturbances, snoring, traffic, or AC hums. So if you are traveling in a hotel room, at home, you have a partner that sleeps in the bed with you, you now have the ideal sleep solution. I can verify that it's designed for comfort. I had no problems sleeping on my side with them. I always listen to audiobooks when I'm going to sleep, and I often fall asleep with AirPods that push against my head and it hurts like heck, or they fall out and then they're out of power in the morning. It's a pain in the butt, and this has totally solved that problem. These Bluetooth headsets are actually the perfect replacement for these big bulky things that I'm using on all the podcasts. With how fast everything's changing, all the stress in everybody's life, sleep is just a non-negotiable anymore. Get the Fitnexa Somnipods 3, link in the description below, also pinned on this video. And thanks to these sleep earbuds for both sponsoring this video and helping improve my sleep. All right, next up, let's look at Rafi Brenna's article, From Chatbots to Sixth Sense, the Dawn of the Context-Aware AI Assistant. Okay, so the way to kind of imagine this is that if you imagine all these different parts of your life as different boxes, like imagine a garage just full of like a bunch of boxes, right? And different parts of your life are puzzle pieces. Like there's a big puzzle that's your whole life, and it's broken into all these little puzzle pieces, and you've put one piece in each box. Like one might be all the things you know about, fixing a car, and the other thing might be all the things you know about like wooing a woman, or like one of them is maybe your Pokemon collection and your hobbies, like just all these little aspects of you, right? Like that would pop out in different contexts and different scenarios. All those are puzzle pieces. There's eventually some kind of quantitative whole of what you are, and it's all divided into these buckets. Something like AI will soon be able to remember the whole puzzle, right? It'll put your whole life in context. It'll kind of remember all the things that changed you throughout time. It'll kind of see what's your overview. And when you ask, hey, like, what should I do right now? Or like, what should I say to this person? The answer that it might give you might blow your mind and be like, wow, that's perfect. And I can't really comprehend the whole thing, right? Like our working context is just smaller. We kind of live in the moment and we're influenced by the things around us. We're not going to be as broad in the moment. The answer that it might give you might blow your mind and be like, wow, that's perfect. And I can't really comprehend the whole thing, right? Like our working context is just smaller. We kind of live in the moment and we're influenced by the things around us. We're not going to be as broad in the moment. So the shift that might be coming won't be about the capability, right? We might say, wow, like, oh my God, like Gemini just got another upgrade and Claude's even better now. But Rafi is in this article quoting a guy named Tony Fadell, and he's one of the creators behind the iPod and the iPhone and Nest. And he argues that the real shift isn't like a more powerful AI model. It's an always-on AI assistant that understands the context of your full life. That will be like an aha magic moment where these models start to not feel like tools, but they feel like something, I would say like almost godlike, because it'll feel like, be like, oh my God, like nobody knows, no human can know all of that, and it's all me. And you're guiding me correctly. I mean, doesn't that kind of feel like an angel or something, or someone that like knows your future? Like it will be so weird. Like when it's not predicting the next word, it's like predicting what you should do. And it's just like all the tokens before that are actually all the tokens of your life. It'll just be a a strange feeling. And instead of waiting for commands, the AI will see what you see, it will hear what you hear, it will remember your habits, and it will quietly help just at the right moment. For example, imagine that you're in a client meeting. Rather than interrupting, the assistant takes notes, it notices someone's reaction to your proposal, it reminds you of details about a competitor. It might warn that a key decision maker has to leave for a few minutes and make sure to reroute the structure around them. And the key ingredient won't be a model that's smarter. I mean, the models will keep getting smarter, but it's the actual years of accumulated context built through continuous use, so the assistant learns your priorities, routines, and preferences that is going to be the big game changer. And so that just means the AI doesn't even need to get that much smarter. It just needs to percolate into a full ecosystem of devices. I mean, if you have cameras all over your home and it's constantly watching you and it has all of that memory, if every phone conversation and watch, and you have glasses, they're all working together instead of single gadgets at certain times. And I mean, don't even start on the privacy. We won't even go there, but let's assume all of this is just fed into the machine, and everything that every document you've written, then the world's going to change into a place where most people probably today don't yet realize that they'll want an AI assistant in the future when it's like that. A huge sacrifice to privacy, but he believes that that could become a technology shift as significant as the smartphone. And I totally agree. It'll just feel... You'll hate it. You'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I've given up all my privacy, but you'll love it. You know what I mean? Everyone will love it. And everyone at companies probably will use it all the time, and it'll be hard to get a job if you don't act that way or succeed in anything. And then what is society? What do we want to be part of that? It gets really weird, but it is what it is. Okay, and to build on that for the next article, you should probably know what a panopticon is. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But it's honestly more interesting as a metaphor than it was as an actual structure. But it was meant as a structure. A panopticon is an architectural concept designed so that a single guard can observe every inmate in a jail. And it can do it without those inhabitants knowing whether or not they're currently being watched. The word literally translates from Greek to all-seeing. But basically it's like a big donut where there's all these jail cells, and then there's just this circle in the middle where the guards are, and the way it's lit, basically they can't tell who's when they're being looked at. So it just creates a certain paranoia in everybody who's in the jail that they could be watched right now. They could feel like they're always watched. So there's this power through uncertainty. Inmates never know when observation is happening. And that's why Molly Cantillon calls this piece the personal panopticon. So she says a few months ago, she started running her life out of Claude Code, not out of intention to do so. It was just the place where everything met, and it just kept working. And then she points out that empires are won by conquest. What keeps them standing is something much quieter. Before he can rule, he must see. The pre-modern state was blind. It knew precious little about its subjects, their wealth, their land holdings, their yields, their locations, their very identity. So it built the apparatus of sight: census, surnames, maps. Over centuries, the illegible became legible, and populations that could see could finally be controlled. But think about that in terms of AI, because now you are one of N tracked, monitored, studied by systems you cannot access, much less interrogated. Data is siphoned for purposes that you'll never fully know. Probably even the people that take them don't even know yet. They'll just plug them into AI. They'll probably ask AI, what should I do with all this data? And the arrangement is brutally asymmetrical. Visibility without reciprocity. A panopticon whose gaze travels outwards and never back. My personal finances are now managed in the terminal. Overnight, it picks the locks of brokerages that refuse to talk to each other, pulls congressional and hedge fund disclosures, polymarket odds, X sentiment, headlines, and 10Ks from my watch list. Every morning, a brief gets added. Last month, it flagged reps field buying NFL X shares. 3 weeks later, the Warner Brothers deal, and I don't always trade on this, but sometimes I argue with the thesis, but I'm never tracking 15 tabs at 6 a.m. anymore. A few weeks ago, 5 friends and I tore into the Epstein files the night that they dropped. Thousands of documents parsed into a searchable index, flights, texts, photos, Amazon purchases, properties. By 4 a.m., sleep deprivation bled into something stranger, the disbelief that it just kept working. This is also a panopticon, but the tower belongs to you. She is outpacing the entire newsroom by 7 a.m. Here's what my tower looks like mechanically. I run a swarm of 8 instances in parallel. Knox, metrics, email, growth, trades, health, writing, personal. Each operates in isolation, spawns short-lived subagents, and exchanges context through explicit handoffs. They read and write the file system, and when an AI is absent, they operate the desktop directly, injecting mouse and keyboard events to traverse apps and browsers. Caffeine keeps the system awake. It's kind of like it stops the screensaver even when you close your laptop. So in airports while I sleep, it's on. So yeah, I guess I'll just sort of end the video by saying that is the way to think about this, I guess. Like, do we need to create our own Panopticon to take care of our world? Because otherwise we're definitely going to become just the people in the cells, not the people who have their own systems working for them. So thanks for watching, and yeah, if you want to share this video with anyone you know, that definitely helps the channel grow, and I would appreciate it. But if not, just thanks for hanging out this long and chatting with me. If you want to leave any comments below, I'll try to read through them, and we'll see. It should be a busy week, so I've got more. I'm doing a little traveling, but I'll still get some videos done. I'm thinking about even covering it from bit, you know, John Wheeler's thing. Like, what if digital information is, maybe not digital, but like information is at the core of everything in our universe, and there's like a lot of new stuff kind of coming out that I feel like that's gaining traction, and it's starting to feel more real than ever. I sort of do think information is at the end of the stack all the way down. But anyways, maybe we'll talk about that in a future video. So just a little teaser there. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next video.